Each of our lives is Wolf's story. We just don't recognize it.
What convinces someone that their loved one is still here is the preponderance of the evidence. We go beyond a reasonable doubt. Some people I've talked to have actually seen that in moments of shifting their focus from our human world. They look up and they see this like a web. We're not independent beings. We are interdependent beings. All of my teaching that I've done ever since I met Wolf comes back to this central message. All of our loved ones see what's going on in our lives and are around. I like the acronym for life, love in full expression.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever needed proof of angels, the afterlife, or that we don't die when we die, then do we have the Wolf Story Show for you. Today I'll be talking with Suzanne Giesemann, former naval commander and one of the most angelic angel experts I've ever had on the show, about a book too stunning for words, Wolf's Message. And that's just what I want to talk with her about today, about a boy, a message, and unequivocal proof of angels and the other side. That, plus we'll talk about radio flyers, uber intelligence, chimeras and winged creatures, stellated dodecahedrons, truth shivers and fulgurites, plus Lake Louise, of course, and what in the world Pachamama and pajamas has to do with anything. So welcome back to the show, Suzanne. Are you ready to shine?
That's what we do, Michael. I'm so ready. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you so much for being here. Before we dive right into things, can we scientifically measure the validity of mediumship readings?
No.
Well, we're done then. Can we rate them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Scientifically, I say no because you can't replicate it like science likes. We can use double-blind studies, triple-blind studies, and use scientific methods, but it hasn't yet proven mediumship. For that, we turn to the judicial system. That system can prove mediumship, but we can go as far as science can take us at this time.
All right. So you've got me on the hook. Tell me about the judicial system and mediumship.
Yeah, all we need is a preponderance of the evidence to convict someone or to prove beyond a doubt means over 50%. And if I do a reading or any good medium does a reading, they better get 80 to 90% accuracy. So what convinces someone that their loved one is still here is the preponderance of the evidence. We go beyond a reasonable doubt, way beyond a reasonable doubt. And so why can't we apply that system to mediumship? Subjective work that we're involved in here versus objective. The scientific world only takes us as far as our objective senses can prove, but we're talking about subjective senses. So let's use a different system.
Let's talk about white crow spirits for a minute.
Well, that's the theory that you can say that all crows are black, but all you need is one white crow to throw that whole theory out. So I know what you're getting at, because in this book, Wolf's Message, Dr. Gary Schwartz, who is a scientist and an afterlife researcher, said that Wolf, the young man who I brought through from the spirit world, who forms the basis of the book, is that white crow spirit. That it doesn't matter how many cases people say, that's not real, that's not real, that's not real. Wolf has proof. And I was told as a baby medium, don't ever use the word proof when you're talking about mediumship. The skeptics will eat you alive. I'm sorry, but that young man left proof that the soul is real and knows things about our physical life that don't always filter down to our human awareness.
Very cool. So we're going to go through this story and we're going to present some of the evidence, but then we're going to get to the teachings because that's what's most important. He wants us to get to the teachings, Wolf, that is. But with that said, you like being, I think your term is, correct me if I'm wrong, an evidentiary medium. What's that?
Evidential or evidence-based. Those are the more popular terms.
And what does that mean?
that means I'm not going to say, oh, your grandmother's here and she loves you so much and she has this beautiful light about her. Well, that may be true. But if I'm skeptical, I could say, well, you just made that up. But an evidential mediumship brings through things from that spirit, from them directly, not from the ethers, not reading a client's mind, that leaves the client, the sitter, saying, oh my God, that was my loved one, because you couldn't possibly have known that. Details about their life you wouldn't find anywhere else, memories, facts, whatever would go in a biography, that is their life.
Thank you. And what I love about how spirit works and who spirit pulls on is that you're a former naval commander. You are very evidential based. Show me the facts. Lay it out for me. Give me a list. And all of a sudden, Shazam.
Well, that translates very well to mediumship, except, Michael, I've really had to let go of that side of me because it's kind of rude to go to a spirit and say, all right, I know you're here. Give me a list. Tell me all these things about you. And that's like you're checking in for a doctor's appointment, right? Fill in the blanks. This is a very heart-based interaction, and that's what Wolf, it's part of his message already. We can't leave it out of this whole conversation till the end, is get out of your head and into your heart. Find that balance. So as a medium, that's been the balance of my work, is getting out of the I need the list, I need the evidence mindset, and knowing that evidence will automatically flow in a reading if I use my heart to feel their presence and to make sure I discern their messages accurately for their loved one. The message is the heart of a connection with a loved one. They don't come through to say, hi, this is your brother Sam, and I was 56 years old when I died and I was a farmer. No, the loved one knows that. That just backs up when Sam says, and I'm so sorry that I threw your Christmas present in the trash when we were 3 years old. Will you ever forgive me? You know, that's the kind of thing that heals old wounds and lets us know they're with us.
Thank you. So I want to dive into the story of Wolf, but there is a synchronicity of synchronicities here that we get to address. So please forgive me for asking again about your daughter and what happened, how that got you into mediumship, because that is at the crux. That's maybe why Wolf came to you.
Oh, there's no doubt. Well, it's not just how Susan passed. That's just part of one big web, which is what Wolf showed us, that we're all part of a web. There's never just one detail that connects us. Once you start pulling the thread, those little gossamer strands of the web, it just opens and opens and opens and ultimately reveals our total interconnection with all that is. But my stepdaughter, I don't know if you can see her in the picture back here. She was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and 27 years old, 6 months pregnant, crossing a flight line at Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point. Skies are blue. In the distance, some gray clouds. 10 miles away is the storm, but the lightning bolt came down and struck Susan, and she never regained consciousness. So that's how Susan passed. I was sharing my story of how I went from Navy commander to this current work at a conference at the Association for Research and Enlightenment, Edgar Cayce's headquarters in Virginia Beach. When I shared the picture of Susan and showed how she passed, this couple in the front row looked at each other, put their hands on each other's legs, grabbed them like, oh my God. And it turns out their son, Wolf, was killed the same way. They didn't know why they were at that conference. They just felt drawn to go there. They thought they were there to hear somebody else. And they looked at each other and said, this is why we're here. And thus that little web started to unravel.
Thank you. And then there's somehow, some way, they're going to be getting in for a reading. And then 2 days before reading, if I have that right, what happened?
Oh my goodness. Well, I like to joke now because it's happened since then, but I say that sometimes my marital bed gets a little crowded because spirits drop in on us. They're very polite, and they don't wake me up too often. But this was 5:30 or so in the morning. We were in our RV, pitch black. And I just suddenly woke up and I get this lightheaded feeling that happens when I do a reading, when a spirit has stepped in. But if it's somebody I've never met, think about it, Michael. How are you going to know who this is? You can ask, who are you? But my clairaudience is not so clear that they could say their full name and I'd know. Well, this clever spirit flashed an image of this couple, Mike and Beth, that I had met at that conference. Mike Pasikarnis, and that's Wolf's dad, and Wolf's stepmother, Beth. And I knew instantly, you are their son. All they had told me to that point was they had a son nicknamed Wolf, and he was struck by lightning. And that's when I said, I need to do a reading for you. It's my gift. So clearly, Wolf set that up, knew it was coming up in 2 days, and dropped in on me. What a gift that was, because there's nobody around for feedback. So no scientist could say, well, you were reading body language. And I had my pen and paper beside the bed, as I always do for when I get downloads from spirit. I roll over and I start writing what he tells me. And he gives me, I think it was 45 pieces of evidence, line by line by line, but really off the wall things, not like I like sports and I played the guitar. No, this was one of the most different people I'd ever heard of. And I got so excited because it's one of those you can't make this up things. I'm rambling on. How much more do you want me to go?
I want a lot more for the audience. I want to know some of the details. I want to know some of the things that were unique to this experience. How did he even speak to you, try get information to you, flash images to you?
Both. He was speaking, but it always comes through sounding like my thoughts. Unless I've met the person, it's much easier for them to just use our own thoughts. So clairaudience. And he was showing me images. I remember specifically he flashed this at me. That's the I love you sign.
Okay.
He flashed, I can't remember now if it was the peace sign or the peace sign with the fingers, but clearly I could feel as well. So clairsentience, that this guy was all about peace, but on a major level, like world peace. And he had a big I love you for his dad. But so many things he told me. When you said you want to know how he was different, he's showing me an amulet. He's showing me he would wear robes like a druid. He showed me unusual ceremonies, all kinds of unusual shapes and spirals. He was clearly not your ordinary young man. He also, for just clear evidence, said, I'm Mike Jr. So I'm hearing these and knowing that his parents are going to be able to validate this. That's what's so exciting. So I just typed it up, emailed it to them and said, I don't want feedback on any of these items. Just tell me, was that your son? I knew it already. But they wrote back and just said, we are blown away. And I said, then let's just do the reading in 2 days. We would have done it anyway, but still don't give me any feedback beforehand, and we'll see how it unfolds from there.
And I want to hear about the reading, but you also went to Gary Schwartz and used his system. Is that a good way to call it?
It is. It's his rating system for a reading. I've been tested by him in his laboratory of human consciousness at the University of Arizona. Yeah. And he has a system that's laid out in the book that when someone comes through in a reading, you have the sitter, the client, the family member here, rate every bit of evidence and the messages for accuracy and give them a numeric score, with 6 being a super hit. Wow, you can't deny it, or very accurate, like my name is Mike Jr., that's a 6. And 5, a hit, and 4 goes down to 1, a total miss, and 0, you can't rate it. That would be something like the spirit says, it's beautiful here on the other side. We can't grade that.
Yeah.
And so actually, Michael, this was a big hindrance for me in mediumship until a couple years ago, because having been graded so many times by Dr. Schwartz, I got into the mindset that everything out of my mouth, my clients were grading, and I needed to get that A. It became about accuracy instead of flow. And so I've had to undo that, but it served a great purpose.
I was training at the Olympic Training Center a long time ago, and I had a coach who, and I was addicted to this thing, wanted to take my cycle computer and my heart rate monitor away from me.
Oh,
because I was too focused on the metrics
yeah.
rather than what
Yeah.
I was doing.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yep. So you understand.
So, what was the score you got? And then let's dive into the reading because I think wanting to be an A student actually spurred you to action. And this whole journey took place because of your desire to be an A student.
Oh, yes. Now, I actually don't remember the scoring of the pre-reading. I definitely remember the scoring of the actual reading.
Yeah.
And Dr. Schwartz, his comment was something like, in the history of mediumship, he's never seen anything like it. It was a high score, but I looked at it and I said, this is only 73% accurate. That's a C. I'm not a C student. And why were 13% and then other things unscorable wrong? How can you have all of these things super accurate and then why are these also unusual things not accurate? And that became the basis of the book. Over the next 2 months, as we continued traveling around in our RV after that reading, usually after a reading, I just don't talk to the client anymore. But in this case, Wolf dropped in on me, and one by one, that other 13% started to unfold. It's like a spiritual, metaphysical mystery. Little pieces of this puzzle coming together bit by bit, stringing you along until this great message comes through. The things that weren't accurate, the way they unfolded with wonder and awe, pointing to this web of connections, pointing to the message itself that we're part of one big web and that we need to get out of the head and into the heart. It's just brilliant. But of course it is, because it comes from the web itself, from spirit.
I love how I talk about spirit and the three S's coming through in signs, symbols, and synchronicities.
Oh, that's this book, this story. Huh. Yeah.
Can you share one piece? I don't want to give the whole book away, but there's some pieces that really just stuck out to me. One piece that was just such an oh my God moment for you, such a light bulb going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are so many, but you talked about fulgurites.
Yes,
So
and I'm looking at your necklace as we're talking about this.
yes, along this journey of unfolding Wolf's message on this summer trip that we were on, I met this woman. I was drawn to her gift shop. We looked at each other. She was the owner of this gift shop. I'll never forget the moment. We're looking at each other in the eyes. There's this recognition, but I've never met her. And I said, I'm supposed to talk to you. And she said, I know. Let's get together for coffee. I mean, Michael, it was weird. So we get together the next day, and it's my birthday. I'm excited. I said, really cool things have happened on my birthday every year since I found out about the greater reality. I wonder what the gift is today. And I'm in the midst of this story unfolding. And I said, I looked at her. It was so funny. We're sitting there drinking coffee. And I said, so what are we supposed to talk about? She said, I don't know. I said, all right. I'm supposed to talk about this young man named Wolf and how all these beautiful synchronicities have been happening as I unravel this mystery. And I'm supposed to tell you that he was struck and killed by lightning, like my stepdaughter. And she reaches down to her necklace and she holds it up and she says, do you know what this is? And I said, no. She says, it's a fulgurite. Now, she owns a rock shop, so that means something to her. And I just went, okay. She said, it's a piece of sand that's formed into a solid tube when it's struck by lightning. She's sitting there wearing it.
Wearing lightning.
Now, it wasn't this piece, although this is a fulgurite, and it never occurred to me when I put it on today. I just knew I was supposed to wear this necklace. This is a prettier one, but the one she had looked like a piece of rotten penny pasta. It was horrible. It was ugly, but I'd never seen such a thing. And she said, would you like to have it? Now, I'm usually pretty polite, and in that case, you're supposed to say,
no.
I couldn't possibly, right? But I went, like to have it. You know? Yeah. Are you kidding me? She took it off and she gave it to me. I got goosebumps. You know, how beautiful. The thing is that they say that fulgurites carry the energy of that light, and that when you pray and hold one, it provides extra oomph to your prayers. Be that as it may, that was just a huge God wink, and it was just one of many, many, many things that happened that showed, pull this thread, follow this. And Michael, it happens to everybody that reads this book. I should have kept all the emails from people that say they start having synchronicities, as you did as you're reading it.
This was I pride myself on getting through every single book. And instead, I'm stopping page after page. I could have been a PI with this book and going through, here's another synchronicity going on with Jessica and myself. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's the hawk that crossed our path and looked down in the car on us on the highway on Sunday. And here's the this and here's the... It was stunning.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I just received an anonymous gift package of things with wolf things in it. So did Mike and Beth. And we're like, who's this from? And finally, the lady fessed up. She lives in Nevada. She was reading the book and she started hearing voices and followed the voice and followed the snags. And one thing after another that was in the book, she found it and she said, this is a gift I'm supposed to give for them. This is a gift. And she sent it to us and said, this is not from me, it's from Wolf. That kind of thing just shows the web of love. Beautiful.
That's where we're going to go in a few minutes, to this web of love. And I really want to get an idea of who Wolf is so that we can understand his messages. But before we do that, the one thing that lit you up the most when I started this show was stellated dodecahedrons.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So this is the summer of Wolf, and I had flown home to visit my mother. Lots of things unfolding during that visit back in Florida, but I go back to join my husband, taking a stack of new books with me, always what I'm guided to get, and I have them beside the bed, haven't opened any of them. I wake up at 6 in the morning, I'm still groggy, and I feel my guides draw near, and I hear stellated dodecahedron. And I'm thinking, who hears things like that? What is that? And I write it down. And I think, if that's a real thing, this is a level of clarity and connection that I've been praying for. Yeah. So I hear it's in that book there, middle of the stack. And now I'm getting goosebumps. So I pulled that book out. I go to the index. I kind of pause because this is one of those momentous times. Trusting what you hear. I opened the index, Michael. Stellated dodecahedron is there. I started crying. So I turned to page 28 or whatever it was, and I read about it. And it's the Christ consciousness grid, otherwise known as the unity consciousness grid, an energetic lattice, matrix around our planet that connects us all, that gets brighter as each one of us turns up our own light. Some people I've talked to have actually seen that in moments of shifting their focus from our human world. They look up and they see this like a web, a net in the sky.
There's a kids movie. I don't know if you've seen it or not. If not, I'm going to highly recommend it, called The Last Mimsy.
No, never heard of it.
And I won't give the story away, but that illuminated dodecahedron, stellated dodecahedron appears.
It's a shape. That's a shape.
Appears in the sky to the boy.
Oh my! Yeah.
At a time of saving of humanity, of the future and the present meeting with each other and intertwining.
Ooh, goosebumps! I gotta watch it.
The Last Mimsy.
I'm making a note. All right.
So let's go from there. Who was? You can't. You and I get this. Many listeners get this. There is no was. Who is for all of eternity? Wolf.
Yes, that's so perfect to say it that way. That's the other fascinating thing, Michael. I feel very blessed for the background I've had as that Navy commander and aide to the head of the U.S. military. People listen because they know I'm not a flake, And Wolf also has a unique story that causes people to pay attention. Like I said, when he dropped in, I knew this is no ordinary person. In fact, he was diagnosed. Well, it came through in the reading.
Yeah.
Let me back up a second.
Please do.
When I actually sat with his dad and stepmom on Skype for that reading, and Wolf stepped in, I was shaking and stuttering. I have parts of that recording are on my YouTube channel, shaking and stuttering from his high energy. I said to them, I have never felt anyone who walked in human form as a normal person with this strong of an energy before. And he was so clear and so loving, such a powerful old soul, that when he said this one word in my ear, I just shook my head and I said, he just said schizophrenic. And Beth, his stepmother, said he was diagnosed schizophrenic. And I couldn't believe it. And then he pointed at his head and he said, it was very busy in here. I was in two worlds at once and I couldn't turn it off, which really puts mental illness in a different light. I'm not saying at all that everybody who hears voices is walking in both worlds, but in this case, yes.
Let me tangent for a brief moment because tears are coming to me. We've hit a truth. I had a dear, dear roommate. He's still a dear friend who I know when he ended up becoming whatever we want to call it, manic, schizophrenic, something. When that happened to him, it actually happened from a pranayama experience that triggered this. And now he's medicated to be able to stay in this world because I knew right away he's plugged into the other side. So he had a funny experience. In fact, I went to the hospital to visit him. He's locked up, and he shares this story. And he says, yeah. He goes, a funny thing happened. And he goes, hee hee. And this is a genius gentleman who is very grounded to this point, lifelong meditator. And he goes, the aliens told me how to get out. He goes, and if you had come yesterday, you wouldn't have been able to see me because they had lost electricity in the hospital for the entire day because of what they told me to do. And he knew nothing about electrical anything, but he had shorted out the entire hospital by pulling the keypad off of the wall by what he was told on the other side.
Oh, my goodness.
And he was so innocent about it. He's like, hee.
Well, Wolf actually was one of the kindest people that people knew.
Yeah.
He was never dangerous. He took in drug addicts off the street and brought them into his apartment. People that would say, why are you doing that? And he says, because this person doesn't have anywhere to live. They don't have any food. He was just known for his kindness. 400 people came to his memorial service. A guy who they used to just see walking around Plymouth, Mass. Amazing.
So the question is, did he share with you, this is way outside the scope of the book, but I know who he's working with on the other side now. Did he share how we can help people who are stuck in both worlds simultaneously and don't have the filter?
He did not share that, but it just brings awareness to the fact that there can be spiritual emergencies or people that are opening up to energies and don't know how to handle it.
Thank you. So then tell us more about Wolf, and then we'll morph into the lessons.
Right. The most important thing to understand is that he was an artist and a poet, and he got so many downloads and ideas that he would draw and write. In fact, in the reading, I said, I'm just writing, and drawing. And he's showing me stacks of loose leaf papers, and he's saying, thanks for keeping them safe, Dad. Thanks for keeping them safe. And his dad later sent me photos of his apartment that makes you draw back and say, whoa, this is not your normal person, because every square inch of wall in his 2-bedroom apartment was covered with his artwork and poetry. And it was kind of dark stuff too, like tattoo type drawings, that kind of artwork, and deep philosophical poems. And his dad had taken down every piece. I think it was something like 33,000 tacks he took out of the wall and saved every one of them. But I'm not going to give this whole thing away. I would spoil the book if I shared this. But the thing that makes his story so phenomenal is this is a young man who was struck by lightning. And in his final poem and drawing that he left in a place that no one could miss, he showed exactly where he was going to die and how it was going to happen. And across from that poem, tacked to the wall, was a piece of his favorite t-shirt. Just the picture, a bolt of lightning. Oh. I'll ask the scientists to try to explain that one. And if you come up with a reason, that's nice. But I know the truth. It's the soul. Soul knows that this young man came here because his message is too important to ignore. It brings healing. His poem asked for the spirit of the great healer to bring peace and tranquility to all of us. And that's what his message is all about.
A few years ago, we were recording a video for automatic writing, for our book, for our program, and in Colorado. And Jessica was behind the camera. I'm speaking. There's a window behind me. And Jessica's jaw hits the floor. And I think she's yawning. And I try to continue. And finally, I'm like, I'm so sorry. But are you that bored that you've just got your mouth open in a giant yawn while I'm trying to record? I can't go on. And she said, no, lion. And she flips around the camera and shows me a giant mountain lion with at least a 3-foot long tail had jumped up behind me on the other side of the glass. And she caught it on video. And so I went that night or next morning into my automatic writing. And I heard, this is Maximilian. This is your guardian angel, Maximilian. I've been with you forever. I take lion form. So that was me with lion. I am, of course, not just the mountain lion. But I want to teach you a message about the pride. And he said, the pride is family. The family is humanity. The time of the lone wolf is over.
Oh, that line, really?
The time of the lone wolf. I told you, Ooga Booga.
Ah, gee whiz. And that's right in the book, too. When I read that one in a book that is part of the web that Wolf led me to, it just made my jaw drop open. So give Jessica credit here. That is so awesome.
What is he trying to teach us? What is his greatest message from the other side?
We're seeing it now with the COVID pandemic. The time of the lone wolf is over. We see ourselves as separate beings, and we're not. We are humans, apparently individual. And of course, we have our unique stories, but we are not apart from the web. We are a part of the web. We're not independent beings. We are interdependent beings. All of my teaching that I've done ever since I met Wolf comes back to this central message. So as part of COVID, we have all suffered from being alone and solitary. And it's our time to see we're not meant to be alone. We're connected. So find a way to make those connections happen. And they happen through the heart. Wolf's message is you'll find your way home with a capital H to your true being as an interdependent light, a manifestation of the one light. You find your way home to that state of awareness through the heart, not trying to reason your way through all of this, not trying to find the scientific method to prove this.
I am going to Ooga Booga one more time because
I could see it.
outside that very window where the mountain lion jumped up is a giant, almost wall-high rose bush. And I haven't used it in a year or two. I haven't used it almost since that time, the metaphor of we are all individual roses on one bush.
It's nice.
That's the web that we're talking about.
And of course, you know how I can't talk about the roses, but they're
I know.
Spoiler alert giveaway, the roses are huge in Wolf's final message. Yeah. Ha!
Everybody, you're going to need to get this book. Multiple
And watch out,
copies.
because you'll feel wolf around you. People do, even if they're not that sensitive. Yeah.
So we can go to the time of the Mayans, we can go to everything that's going on, and my hands here are producing a scale as I'm doing this. Because, I mean, you have yin yang behind you. Where we're going is, and what does Wolf trying to teach us about balance?
Balance. And the yin yang symbol was in his final drawing. When you have a single eye, your entire being is filled with light, is a saying that many people may be familiar with. But it's seeing the duality, but bringing it together into oneness. We are both unique manifestations of the one light in this world of duality, but that yin yang symbol behind me forms one wholeness. And the problem is, when we're only in our head or rationalizing or all about me, that's another way of being out of balance. We're only acknowledging half of our wholeness, bringing the heart into all equations, bringing the apparently other into union with you in whatever activity you're doing, acknowledges your wholeness. That's what is missing. I'm hearing right now our society is all about me, or my tribe, or my whatever, when it's us and we. We're out of balance as a species, is what Wolf came to tell us.
From competition to co-opetition, to looking at every single person around you as you, or at the very least, you are one arm, they are the other. One
rose on the same bush, right?
Amen. Ain't going there, but
yeah.
Amen. But yes. So, how do we, I'm going back to his room. I can visualize his room in my head. And he did as magnificent of a job as I think you can do, given his level of that foot was firmly planted on the other side. And that foot was firmly planted here. He wasn't torn up apart. I have not heard about him being traumatized. Unusual, not fitting in, not necessarily holding jobs. But he was, by definition, balanced, wasn't he?
They said he was diagnosed that way. He did feel great pain and felt tortured because his heart knew we were here to love each other. Many of his poems show chains across the heart. But one of those with the chains across the heart said, I long to be free of these chains that bind me. And that's the human belief system that says we're separate. He was definitely one of those, why can't we all just love each other people? And that's what tortured him.
How would he suggest that we start to reframe or view our world? Or, if that's a little challenging to go to, how has he challenged you to reframe how you're viewing the world?
From day one, just to, like his final poem said, to flow. Instead of thinking, this is the way I've always done things, I'm going to do it that way, to just realize that all of life in manifestation is a flow of experiences. And then when we hang on to this branch on the shore and say, no, I'm going to do it my way, that's when we suffer. But peace and tranquility are what ensue when we accept what's going on and then look for the next step from higher guidance. So it doesn't mean we accept the current reality is how we want to continue living, but we accept this is reality, the wholeness of it, the good and the bad. Okay, yes. And now flowing, Spirit will give you the next step. So he's just the most recent teaching from my guides that I share every month in my monthly webinars, which we were talking about earlier, is constantly coming in. And flow has been the subject of the month these past few weeks. To apply this in your life now really does bring peace and tranquility, which is what he hoped for all of us.
Our teachings lately have been about the river and about watching what doors close rather than open, Because when a door closes, all it means is you start to flow in a different direction. The water doesn't go down and hit a stone and go, oh no, I've hit a stone. What am I going to do about it? I better hit it harder. I better find a way. No, it says, wow, perfect, a stone.
But you know what you just showed me with that imagery, Michael?
Yeah.
It's also that water now has many possibilities to go around the stone, not just one. The river may be flowing in one direction. We want to go in the direction towards evolution of our souls. But when you hit an obstacle, it's that standard: do you go around it or over it, through it, like a bull in a china shop, or do you just let the current of spirit show it, reveal it? It doesn't mean we don't take action, but the possibilities is what makes life exciting.
I am having the vision. It's burned into my mind. In fact, last year when we had our RV, it was the number one place we were trying to get to. It did not happen. It is not on the immediate horizon as well. But you flowed to Lake Louise.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I had been told by, what is her name? Velvet, the woman who gave me the fulgurite.
In Whitefish.
Yeah. The woman who gave me the fulgurite said, I, Velvet, have been tasked to leave crystals at certain places along the Rocky Mountain chain to increase the vibration around the world. And I'm still in Navy commander mode, slowly undoing that conditioning. And I'm thinking, well, that sounds a little out there, but I'm open. And she said it's going to strengthen the grid. The stellated dodecahedron, come on. This is the web coming together here. And she said, there's only one place left. I have to leave a stone, but I'm not going to get there. And I get goosebumps and I say, where is that? And she said, Lake Louise. And I looked at her and I said, that's our next stop on our trip. So this is the web. And I said, do you have to personally do it? Because I'll take a stone for you and put it in Lake Louise. So see, I went from thinking, oh, that's a little out there, to now participating. This is the word of the week for me too, is participate. Don't step back and be an observer all the time. Get the guidance and say yes. So she gave me this quartz crystal, and oh my God, the things that happened at Lake Louise and that story, unbelievable.
And the image, I won't give away the image. It's in the book, but there is an amazing image in there. Ty isn't so much a character foil. This is your husband. And Lake Louise, for people who aren't familiar, this is Banff. This is a turquoise lake of turquoise lakes of turquoise lakes.
With a backdrop that every artist would just love to paint.
Yeah, and I watched how you caught your words there.
Yep. Yep.
Because words,
be impeccable with your word.
They have a vibration. That's what we're talking about.
Yes,
You and I
do.
are both. This is a transmission. This is an attunement. Everything that you and I are teaching, I am sure, is all about attunement and vibration right now.
Yes, that's right. And to say that an artist would, I
Yes.
can't even say it.
Well, you paused. I
paint
caught you.
that.
I heard it in your head.
See, it just wouldn't jive.
No.
So
It is
anyway,
so important.
Lake Louise is sacred place.
So
Yeah.
Ty, in a sense, acts as your character foil. Your husband, he was a destroyer commander, if I get that right, or a destroyer group? Captain. So he has watched your evolution. He has watched you going on this journey with Wolf. And I'm just trying to put myself as a fly on the wall of Ty, watching you going through these experiences and watching you expand and grow and say, well, I've got to go put a crystal here.
Oh, I know. Or riding down the road in our RV, we're crossing the Cascade Mountains in the bus. He's driving, and all of a sudden I say, "Don't talk to me. Wolf is here." He's so used to this happening. So I'm getting another download from Wolf. It's in the book, and I'm writing it down. And Wolf says, "Cast a rune," and I'm saying, "Okay, I remember runes because they came up in the reading." But I don't know what they are. I haven't looked them up yet. I know they're a divination tool. I don't do that. That's more of this out there stuff. No offense to anyone, because I now have my own runes, of course. But how am I going to find runes in the middle of Washington State in the Cascades where I barely have phone service, right? And all of a sudden I think, I'll bet there's a rune app in my iPad. So I pull it up, and there was enough service because we're at the top of the mountain, and I download the rune app, and Wolf says, cast a rune. Like, runes could mean anything, right? I don't know what it's going to be. Is it stars? Is it fortunes? I don't know. But you push this little button, and one rune pops up randomly. There are 26 of them. I push the button saying, Wolf, what's your message for me? And what comes up? The Wolf's rune. I mean, this is how it works. Believe, act, have the intention that ultimately it's going to serve the greater good, and life is magical, wondrous. That's love that urges us to have these joyous moments of connection, of knowing there's a greater reality. It's our skepticism, it's our left brain stick to the shoreline mentality that keeps us from experiencing the miracle of life. I like the acronym for life that Spirit gave me. Love in full expression.
Woohoo!
Oh, yeah.
Wolf is now on the other side, and he's charged with, or my guess is from everything that I've read and heard, he volunteered to help people who transition early, is maybe a good way to put it, who have chosen to check out. A lot of people, I feel like we are an electron vibrating at a state where we're about to go boing to a positive evolution, that this is consciousness expanding, and that is why Wolf has appeared at this time. It's why you're doing your work. It's why we're doing our work, is for this expansion of consciousness. But at this time, it's almost like a bottleneck. It's like our molecules are getting squeezed through the head of the bottle, and it can feel incredibly painful at this time. What would be his message to help when you say believe? How do we get to a state of belief when what we feel is a state of pain?
Well, pressure building means there's a release coming. Just think how good that's going to feel. That's the law of life and balance. It has to be balanced with the release. So you feel a little sick, you know what's coming after that. And it feels so good, that contrast. How do you get to the place of believing? Be willing to be open. Be willing. I want to believe. And then read things like Wolf's message and ask for your own signs and synchronicities. Then watch for them, remain aware. And when they come, okay, if you find yourself questioning it, that's fine, but that's the old stick in the mud mentality. Celebrate that, make a note and say, okay, give me another. That was fun.
You just brought up, so we're hitting some very key concepts for both of us right now. Vibration, attunement, balance, love, unity, and then another really, really key component here, ask.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That shows that you're a part of it, that you realize you don't have all the answers, that you are an interdependent being, a part of the web, not apart from it. So things are not always just given. You need to be a team player. So ask higher consciousness. I'm here. I'm willing to play. Let's play.
Download your own rune app and ask.
Yep.
What's a great way for people who are listening to this to start to make that ask?
Go to my website, to the gifts page, and watch the video, 7 Steps to Connecting with Higher Consciousness. And that is a great way to learn how to get into the perfect expanded state of awareness to connect with the source you're asking these things of. And it gives you that time to ask the question and receive an answer. And if you don't receive an answer, then at least now you're open to it. So that's just a start. It just occurred to me, not everybody's a reader. Wolf's message is in a book. It's also on audiobook. I had the fun of narrating that, so you feel that energy. But I also made a presentation based on Wolf's message. It's called Heart Gifts. And you can go to YouTube and search for Suzanne Giesemann Heart Gifts and see all the photos talked about in the book and hear the message. And it's not the greatest quality, but it's good stuff.
Thank you. And what are the courses you're teaching right now?
Oh my gosh, I have several online courses that are on demand. Making the Connection is how to connect as a medium with other people's loved ones. This weekend, I am debuting Personal Mediumship to learn to connect with your own loved ones and guides. That's not yet on demand, but it will be shortly. And I have courses in how to let your spirit soar and other things. It's just, I love sharing what spirit gives me, as well as those monthly sharing. Michael, I get pages and pages of new good stuff to share with people, how to connect, how to live a more peaceful life, a more connected life. And I give it in 2 full hours like this, once a month, online in live webinars. Yeah. And the next day, Spirit starts giving me downloads for the next month. It's been going on for 3 years now, never fails. I'm so grateful to be helping them in that way.
How does it feel? Because I get downloads before I teach, and it is such a torrent of energy, just like you described. I must admit, I'm still not used to that full-on torrent of energy. Jessica could ask me, what's 1 + 1? And I'd be like, no, not now. I'm full.
Yeah. Well, that's how it feels. But it's we call that the power, but it's not an ego power. That's you've opened yourself up for more of the light from which we all arise to flow through you, to shine that on others. And it's just a blessing to connect in that way and to help other people take that in and feel that. I hope they're feeling it now from the synergy that you and I are creating. What is that excitement? Why do some people want to cry when they hear these things? That's the soul saying, I'm ready to shine. Are you?
Woohoo! A few more things, and then we'll, this has been so beautiful. Okay, does Wolf still come through to you?
Occasionally, but not so much. I think he's pretty busy with other people, but it's fun because Mike and Beth have now moved an hour and a half away from us here. And we get together regularly, and occasionally when they show up, he drops in on me. And that is fun. Like a regular son, not as the teacher that he came back to be. Like the time when I said, why is he suddenly showing me a wheel and it's out of balance? And I said, what are you showing me? And I said, his parents have a screw in their tire. They showed up, and instead of saying, hi, how you doing? I give him a big hug. I said, Wolf says you have a screw in your tire, and there it is.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. We looked down. I have a picture of them pointing at the screw right in their tire. It's just so cool. That's evidence, It's just beautiful. And everybody's loved ones on the other side are like that, Michael. It's not just that Wolf is special. All of our loved ones see what's going on in our lives and are around.
This is a question where what do you call it? I'm leading the witness. Can anyone learn how to connect with their loved ones on the other side?
Yes, they can. And it's just like in your book, The Awe Experience, it follows that bell curve that you talk about. Some people, just like you said, 10 to 20% are going to have this amazing connection right away. The 60% in the middle can make that connection. Then there are 10 to 20 who are going to have to really dedicate themselves to it. But we can all do it, Michael, and you know why? Because we all are souls, and we're connecting soul to soul.
Thank you. What would Wolf say from the other side about this massive shift of consciousness that's coming?
It's about time, but it's also very natural because he shows that it's because we are coming into alignment energetically with other planets, with our solar system. It's well beyond my understanding, but there's balance taking place within us as a species, as a planet. It goes on because everything is nested as part of that web. So buckle your seatbelt because it's happening whether or not you're ready.
I don't know if I've asked you this before. Do you ever lead guided meditations?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. There are several of them free on that same gifts page on my website.
Would you mind if we wrap things up with a last question? And if you feel called, anything. It can be 30 seconds. It can be 3 minutes. It can be with whatever your heart feels called for people.
With a guided meditation?
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's going to bring the energy right into this nice, peaceful place after all this woo-hoo energy.
Yes. So,
But yeah,
and thank you. Any last words of wisdom then that you want to share with people, or that Wolf would want to share?
listen to your heart is what just comes through in a heartbeat there. The reason that comes through is so many people come to me with questions because they think I have this special conduit to spirit, but we all do. And the answer is always, you already know the answer. Trust that. Yeah.
That was my automatic writing. That was the whole lesson, the teaching this morning,
Oh,
was you already have
what
the
a
answer inside
coincidence.
of you. Oh,
Yeah.
no such thing, no such thing.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to lead a meditation, then come out of it and say bye-bye after that?
Yeah.
Okay. So if everybody would just close their eyes for a moment, it's always important to start with an intention, and that is that we come to know our wholeness a bit more. And I'm being shown an image straight out of Wolf's message, so we're going to use that. So imagine yourself sitting in a shaft of white light, and it comes down from the heavens around your physical body and centers you at the center of the earth. It goes all the way down. Now, most people like to pull in that divine celestial energy as they breathe, but Wolf's advice that I pass along to you now is that as we take some relaxing breaths, you pull in the breath from below as well. Just visualize now as you take in a nice relaxing breath, that energy coming in from above and below, and pull it in right to the heart. And now as you exhale, release anything that doesn't serve you out in a sphere all around you. Exhale nice and long and slow, and breathe in again from above and below. And as you do, visualize your very being, your energetic core, one whole light, a brilliant golden orb right at the center of you. That air is flowing around there, that oxygen, the energy now flows out in a sphere in all directions, bringing you into balance. Let's breathe in again from above and below, pulling the energy right into the center of you, your very core, and exhale. That flow is coming in from above and below and going out like a torus shape, a donut shape. This is the energetic shape around all that is. As you attune to that flow, become aware that it's already there, but you are aligning with it, your whole being comes into balance. Feel divine energy flowing through you, unimpeded, resisting no thing, just flowing. And set the intention that you'll go forth now, flowing with what reality presents to you. Saying, yes, this is reality, and what is my next step? Breathing in from above and below the earthly energies and the celestial energies, and being guided by the consciousness that lies beneath all that is, that flows through you as what we call light or subtle energy. Go forth willing to be guided by that energy. You are, at your very essence, this flow. And in the words of Wolf, may peace and tranquility flow like water. And so it is.
Woohoo. I've got both this coming up and this coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah. See, you can't help but feel I love you.
Yeah.
When we're all one. Love is the lack of separation. Love is when the apparent divisions between us dissolve and we become the flow. When you feel that and recognize it in another, we call that love. We are innately that wholeness at another level. So when we say God is love, that makes sense. But we are that flow, so we are love. There is no separation. So I love you, Michael, and I love everybody. I love Jessica. Right now I'm in this state of flow. This is what everybody's seeking, this connection. COVID has shown us we are not separate. We need each other. We suffer without connection. We can find that right here and project that into the world. And here it is, what everybody's seeking.
We are one. We are one. We are one. This has been, I'm glad you brought our energy back down. I was like almost embarrassed with how kid in the candy store I was. But this is just, it's such a beautiful story.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor for each of our lives. Each of our lives is Wolf's story. We just don't recognize it because we're too bogged down in that mental space. No.
Get out of the head and into the heart. Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Thank you
Thank
so
you, Wolf.
much, Suzanne. This is huge love to you, huge love to Ty. This has been phenomenal. Lots of love and blessings on your journey, and I can't wait to meet up as we both and all of us start pulling on the golden string, start following those breadcrumbs, and see where they lead us. So for everyone out there, blessings as well. For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get Wolf's story or get multiple copies and give it out to everybody so that everybody can, follow the breadcrumbs in their own lives as well. Be the love. Be
That's it.
the love. And above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! Wolf's story, Suzanne Gieseman's book, Wolf's Story, had me stopping on page after page after page and checking in, feeling the synchronicities, feeling the love, feeling the buzz of Wolf by my side. We can all plug into this special. It's beyond being able to plug into the special space. We are all this space once we begin to recognize it. And that's why I think this interview was just phenomenal. On that note, if you want a tool to help you to get into this sacred space, check out Awe, the automatic writing experience, the #1 new release in Spirit Guides and Angels, which teaches you how you can channel, how in a sense you can become a medium, how you can connect with the other side just by putting pen to paper. It's ridiculously simple. And Awe has the technology in it that will show you how to do it step by step by step. You can find it at automaticwriting.com. You can get it at Amazon, of course. Bring your receipt back to automaticwriting.com. Get lots of bonuses. Get it at your local bookstore. Bring the receipt back to automaticwriting.com and get lots of bonuses. Of course, I've been recommending 4 copies. Why 4 copies? Get one for you. Get one, change your life. Get one for a loved one, change their life. Get one for somebody who's really struggling. Pay it forward and help them remove that dark cloth of depression, of negativity, of stress, worry, and anxiety. And get one for your local library so everybody can have access to Awe. With that said, we have a Manifestation Mastery Circle every Wednesday night. Right now, we are channeling Florence Scovel Shinn on the game of life and how to play it. Come join your homies every Wednesday night. You can find that at InspireNationUniversity.com, where we come together as a group. We raise your vibration through the roof. We give you practical skills to bring these spiritual practices back to your life and manifest, help you to manifest, help you to make a massive, massive difference in your life. You can find that at InspireNationUniversity.com. It's called the Manifestation Mastery Circle. Again, this month is Florence Scovel Shinn on the game of life and how to play it. I channel her, and then we have a teaching based on what she shares with me. That'll be on Wednesday evenings. And then click that join button below, not just the subscribe button. Click the join button below where you get daily attunements, videos with Jessica and myself each and every day to raise your vibration through the roof. Because that's what we're talking about, is how to take your day-to-day vibration and bring it up and help you to shine incredibly bright. So click on that join button down below. On that note, if you love this show, to check out more, click here. Subscribe below. Click that bell icon to be notified of upcoming shows, YouTube premieres, live events with me. Big thumbs up if you like this. Leave your comments. Above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! Love you guys and hope to see you Wednesday. Keep on shining bright. You are love.